Okay, second part. So I was talking about, yeah, this phenomena can be used uh, to cause aneurysms, has happened to my ex-girlfriend, and also, yeah, I don't know why they target me, but as I say, I met my ex-girlfriend in the internet. She's super smart. She likes to learn, as I do. Learn from many fields, learn from many things, and yeah, it's something that people, as I said before, people who use this technology have no idea what they are doing, because when you create a new kind of technology that disturbs human relationships, you start to have new human relationships. And if you have no idea of social sciences, you don't even know how you work, and you, let's say in this case, looking at someone's brains and so on. Look, I'm sure none of these persons knows how their fucking brain works because they are not aware of it the whole time, and then they come to judge other brains. They don't know the kind of information they produce, and then they go and judge other information of other people, thinking that everyone thinks like them. Yeah, and or maybe they know what's going on and they just take a person because I think this is funny, I think this is whatever, blah blah blah, etc. And then they start to screw lives of innocent people, and then you start to generate wars, and then you start to do a lot of enemies, okay? And then you blame people like me, but no, it's like it's like your ethics, your behavior, your decisions. And yeah, it's like also this is precisely mm, the denial of the people being conscious, the problem of eliminating those who don't think alike, instead to be enriched of the tools that everyone has to bring on the table. And yeah, it's like okay, I just want obedient people who doesn't question, who doesn't have critical thinking. Those who does it, I'm gonna enslave them. I'm gonna use their morals, their ethics, their values, their wishes, their goals, because I think they are animals, and in that way I just gonna use them and for that. Then in the future, you will simply fit a human with that information, with those values, with whatever you think, um, and then once that is installed, then you're gonna use that person because you know that that person might not be able to question its core principles. Yeah, and you think that person will never betray them, and you think that person maybe will think that is doing the best for everyone, and etc. So then you will just take lives as objects, and this is happening because in these structures you will prefer not to have people who has critical thinking and who is able to have a lot of consciousness and the spectrum, because someone who is more conscious might do the right decision. Someone who is motivated with fear will try to avoid those persons to know what's going on. So then at the end, those persons who are fearful will control the machine, and their fear will, or their narcissism will make them believe also that they are the only ones capable to control a machine that is millions of times intelligent, more than them. That was the argument, you know. So one one of the ticks to be like, I don't know, let's call it one of the ticks for idiocy, one of the ticks to be labeled as an idiot is to think that you can be smarter than an AI model. Yeah. If someone thinks that is smarter than an AI model, that's tick for stupidity. Just think about that, because if you get a leader saying that I'm smarter than the whole machine, believe me, you have a stupid person who gonna screw the whole world with that. So that's a simple kind of understandable logic. Okay. Well, okay. So this is the energy-directed weapons. They are more related with things that damage the tissue, extremely low frequency radiation. Yeah, yeah. This is this kind of situation that can stimulate your sexual behavior. And this kind, I spoke about that before. For a time, they were stimulated in the presence of kids, but I never. It's not what I feel. It's not what I want. It's simply I think that people who is turned on by kids. That's again the turn on by kids is simply, but that's a perfect example because this will be seen in the future. So then, people who is turned on by kids will, yeah, have a kind of mental illness, um, but also that mental illness can be created. And I experienced that situation. Let's say this kind of arousal seems to be also inside among the secret services. So some people will have access to this and to use at will that against civilians. And I say that because I experienced it myself. I know because I was kind of able to use it for a while, but not because, I mean, just less than a year ago, uh, in a way in which I do believe they try to whether recruit me, befriend me, or something like that. But I have never joined to any of these kind of intelligence services. I have never consent to this technology to be used upon me. I think I don't deserve this. I don't have a Stockholm syndrome. Um, well, all this situation is happening to me, but there are ways in which they let you know, hey, you can use this for your advantage. Try to go use it, and then you start to use it. But just to check if what's happening, yeah. But I know the most important thing. I know that this is how they create terrorist attacks, because this is technically what they were trying to push me to do. So if I know that they are doing that and they try to do that to me, I mean, I'm not gonna collaborate with that, okay? And this is precisely what happened, and that's my experience. And this is possible, and the technicians know that's possible, and the military knows that's possible, and someone who study AI or neuroscience, etc., knows that's possible. So then there is a bunch of people that know that's possible. Many of you might not know, but yeah, once you have that knowledge, etc., you know that's possible. So then remember, at least in Australia, this is a place in which blowers could be processed, but I'm not a whistleblower. I never jumped to anything overt or covert agency or anything like that. So I can speak as a civilian, okay? And I think I don't deserve this, and I think I never done anything to deserve this. And if I always follow every single fucking rule of the society, So I should not be put through this situation because they are damaging the covenant, the institutions, everything. Yeah. So simply then, what's the point of the rules if you follow them? Yeah. What's the point of, I don't know, whatever the Western civilization is proud of? It definitely, yeah. Sometimes we could read something that happened in the past just to rescue some values. But okay, and this is psychotronic weapon. Yeah, this is related with what happened in your psyche. I've spoken before. There are clusters that can be stimulated in your neurons just to bring concepts. Sometimes you can bring three concepts, sometimes three words. If they do that too much, then you start to have kind of uh, connections, new kind of synapses among those kind of neurons, and then you start to create new kind of concepts that glue together. And this is how I know that I was autistic, because I will never see a Caucasian person and think that is a white people. I was never seen of Afro-descendant and then I will think black, or I will see someone. I mean, I was always interested to know where people's, what's the background of people, because for me it's like yeah, I don't need to go there where they come from, but I would rather be enriched, but whatever they want to transmit from their culture. And I was someone since a young yeah, since I was young, I wanted to meet a lot of people, and I was always asking questions because it would be very interesting for me to meet people. But as you grew up, then you cannot ask many things to people because simply human relationships are not prime, but other things seems to be more important. Real connection is very weird, so weird that many people will see them and will not recognize what is a real connection. People is expected to see and behave in things that they will see rather in Disney, and so you're supposed to always be smiling and put the best in. But I know that a lot of people get emotional burning and emotional energy burn just to do that instead of being themselves, and instead of the other person be aware of judging is he is smiling and be just accept as how the person is. What you see is the person. Yeah, just you don't need validation. You don't need to judge the other person. They are as they are. Accept them as they are. Yeah, if they are behaving good, if they are polite to you, they are not damaging anything. If you think that maybe you have been, I don't know, humiliated or insulted, maybe you were expecting another reaction, that you expect another reaction, that your feelings may be facing what you see that is real. Yeah, but that's your problem then. It's your feelings. You're the only owner of your feelings. So, yeah, something to keep in mind. Okay. So yeah, sometimes yeah you reach the point in which you start to think that obviously it has to be government law enforcement, because the kind of technology, yeah, it wouldn't be something that you will have in another kind of let's say industries, etc. Obviously related with the war industry, etc. So it feels like everyone is against you, but this is complicated because maybe there are some medical practitioners that will say, oh shit, something weird is happening here. I've seen this before, people have been seeing this. If they are very curious, they might see that in the past, the illness jumped in a way in which new data did not appear ever before in the mental illness. So they will be questioning, oh, what the hell? And now we have this situation in which people like me, who is target, is participating in research for schizophrenia. So all this research is biased, all this science is biased. Then we are producing a lot hell of bullshit to create like a Matrix 2.0, yeah, in which is built upon lies, the lies of the lies. So then it means that humans will become matter in that kind of metrics. They will not be, it won't be, believe me, as Neo and so on that someone called you, you'll be free, we're gonna wake you up. And that's bullshit, you know? It's gonna be something like you are one of those persons who is able to do war or not. That's it. Everyone else is matter. Yeah? And, and this is how it will look in the future, but you'll be mad. I mean, the longest the time it passes, then it will be like you will see, I don't know, in this kind of fantasy shows in which the bad guys, the big monster hits the other always, and they are still being super powerful, but it's under their control by hitting them. So let's say I think in the future, yeah, people won't be able to read certain books. They can continue reading books, but they might not be able to read certain books. Yeah, it won't be that extreme as no one can read books. No, no, no. They can read some books, but not all the books. Okay, and they will never discover which books to read to start to understand the reality. So these books that makes you understand the reality, they will get shadow banned in the internet. And if you buy one of those books, you will become a target. Okay. I download for free the I used to have a kind of Kindle, and I download the Capital of Marx. So okay, what is a kid 16 years old reading that? Well, I was curious. One of the words that divide humanity, as big as the Bible, I would say. You have part of the world that is Christian, and for some time you have the Soviet Union, many other countries, China, etc., became communist. So when you think in that proportion, it's a huge book that might bring you some knowledge and maybe some understanding of that division. Especially if you want to understand countries like China. I do believe no policymaker in the United States has read Das Capital of Marx, and they are the ones who did the most with China, so they are not prepared. So, but maybe they are the ones who read. They probably understood. No, whatever. I noticed that. Yeah, maybe because I read that. Also, maybe they thought, oh shit, this guy might be a communist, 16-year fucking communist, whatever, and they thought, no, fucking Che Guevara, whatever. I'm not violent, and that's what they discover. Yeah, because they too paranoid as well. But it's not their fault as well. They live in a paranoid environment. It's like sometimes I could tell who doesn't know anything about the Gangstalking and who might be there because has been sent for that and know exactly what's going on and know how this technology works. And then, well, sometimes they wouldn't have idea, but okay, it was my thread of thought there, but it's fine. Okay, so yeah, so we have a lot of professionals doing their job. Maybe don't know what's going on. Others will know. Well, and It's a, are yeah. Target individuals are unable to identify a single person responsible for their persecution and experience it as a widely distributed and coordinated effort. Yeah, that's how it could be perceived, but it doesn't explain. Then when you think, oh, okay, you need to coordinate this effort, then you have to communicate to everyone to go there and to be trained in what to say and whatever. And there are other ways to explain the situation, which the technology is out there. You simply take the technology from the industry and you apply this for the military purpose, whatever. But it seems extremely stupid because what they did to me is like, first they probably thought I was stupid because again the kind of um, information that you generate on internet, maybe my social media, is always a joke. I mean, when you learn as well social sciences, you understand that we have a persona, a kind of ego, a projection. Um, when you're a critical thinker, when you want to experience what is to be a human, you know, maybe in a way in which you feel comfortable, and you sometimes might expect that people, especially if you cultivate a beautiful personality, you think that maybe yeah, you think always people who I met, they are nice to me, but suddenly, oh, the deep states attack, and and yeah, so I say I never joined to neither not the Communist Party, not the Socialist. I met socially, communist, extreme right, extreme left. Right now I'm studying national security. Yeah, but it's because certainly I've been always curious. Yeah? Can cope with these kind of subjects, and one of those persons that you will met in your life once or twice, because I can talk about every single fucking thing. Yeah, and that's what I am. Yeah, but sometimes these people is not uh, valued. People like me. I mean, I'm not saying that I'm special or anything, but maybe a mixture of some autism and desire to learn, the desire to live, to love, to know that's possible in another world, to know that it's possible to solve great problems. Maybe it's that's seen as a kind of threat for someone. That's seen maybe as a kind of uh, that's seen maybe as maybe some people might get jealous. Maybe some people see, oh, I am intelligent. I know what is to be intelligent. I'm winning over 100K. I look better. I dress better. I I don't know, whatever. You are stupid. You are from a third world country. You don't speak English properly. You have an accent. You are poor. You are someone who works in construction. You shovel dirt every day, and your girlfriend works washing the dishes in a mansion, or you work in a coffee shop, and your girlfriend is a babysitter, and then you will maybe date. I'm better. You're stupid. I can do whatever I want with you. Refugee. I mean, who cares about you? You disappear. No one asks for you. And maybe that's what they saw. They saw themselves because this is how they see themselves, and they cannot see themselves in the other. They cannot see, oh, you are a human. You have a sister. I have a sister too. You have a brother. I have a brother too. Your parents are divorced. My parents are divorced. And I don't know. I don't know. Your first country you travel abroad was this one. Why was this one? And you were talking about this, and we were talking about the same thing. They couldn't see themselves. one to one. They couldn't see themselves in the other person. They only saw themselves as as a kind of I am this and I judge you based on what I see because that's what I am. Yeah, I judge. You are what you are because this is what I am. No, this is not you are what you are because you are. No, you are what you are because this is who I am. There is my filter. I cannot see beyond what I know, and this is one of the huge human bias. But this can be overcome. This technically should be taught in every single school since a very early age. So, and believe me, you don't get paranoid. It's totally the opposite. Yeah, it's not. Kids won't be walking eggshells. Kids might become smarter to the point that they will ask you really hard questions in which you will always try to strive to be wise and humble, comprehensible. But that's the only main problem. That then kids gonna go back to you to distort your even perception of reality. But that's how it should be happening because AI gonna distort every single month for the rest of the history of the humankind in ways that we don't know, in ways that gonna be super fast in environments that we cannot predict. Okay, and this gonna happen really fast. Sometimes day after day. Yeah, and you better put something in the base of society, at least in the education, so people can cope with that stuff. And don't be afraid because this is as simple as when in the in the Middle Ages, people was the power, the priest was they were afraid that the peasants will learn to read and write. They were fuck. If they learn to read the Bible, then I cannot preach the Bible, and then they will start to take their own ideas about it, and it's gonna be hell. It's gonna be hell. It's gonna be a whole of disorder. Yeah. Then we have that in some places, and yeah. Now nowadays everywhere, education read to know how to read and write became compulsory because someone discovered, oh fuck, we have better citizens, better decision making, we have better democracies, we have the base of society that and that base of society will lift as a kind of enlightenment the leadership. So we're gonna start to have better kind of checks, security and balances in society because more people will be also less violent, more mindful, they will recognize what is true, what is not true, and we're gonna thrive in an environment in which is more stable. Instead to hide the truth, I hide those who know the truth, I try to contain this, and fuck, this is splitting everywhere, and what I have to do, kill, suppress, neuro target, be violent, fucking, I don't know, yeah, all that sort of stuff, push, destroy, yeah, because it seems to be simple. It seems to be the thing to do, and if you are used to, I mean, this is the situation. Like, if you are a hammer, you see every single thing, every single problem as a nail. Yeah, if you're a hammer, you see, fuck, how are we gonna solve that? Fuck, just hit it, blow it up. Yeah, it's like, oh, how, I mean, yeah, sometimes you don't have to blow up the whole thing. Sometimes you just move a switch, and that's it. Sometimes you have to ask to someone, hey, I mean, imagine if they were thinking that maybe I was a spy, maybe I was whatever. Let's assume, but this is the situation. They try to use me for create terrorist attacks in society, yeah, and then they are gonna kill at the spot, and they try to do that for several times. But it was not always like that, because I started to experience that in 2016, 2017, this kind of more advanced neural weapons. But in 2013, they were giving me electroshocks, and I'm autistic. Yeah, I don't see the color purple related with the royalty. and I don't get afraid if I see the color purple. I don't get excited if I see the color purple. Yeah, I don't think that the red is for communist. I don't dress red when I think I'm gonna dress communist today. Then I dress red. Yeah, I don't see the red flag like the is something that you will use to I don't know excite the bull if you are in one of these roads in Spain. I don't have those symbols. Yeah, partly because I'm autistic, and partly because I know that this is not the meaning of those things. These colors existed way before any human existed. Yeah, so you see reality depending on your language, and if your language is narrow, you won't be able to take your language. If your language is narrow, you won't be able to take reality and internalize it in your consciousness. The only way in which you can internalize reality is because you have a conception of possibilities and the language to study them and comprehend them, then put those possibilities to enrich your consciousness. Yeah? But if you think a lion is a person who has power, and a lion is, I don't know, the king of the jungle, and a lion is a person who is violent, for me, you are comparing human with animals and have the advantage. Humans are not animals. Okay, that's it. Full stop. Yeah, I was saying before about these stupid jokes about the semiotics and the symbols. Okay, remember this. I was targeted when I was 23 years old. I was receiving electroshocks when I was sleeping, and I couldn't comprehend why. My ex-girlfriend was receiving headaches. She would have suddenly a lot of situations with her stomach, menstrual pain. She will feel also tired. At that time, that was possible with that technology because you just need to identify a place. You don't have to be that specific, but as long as you can excite or suppress certain places in the brain, then you don't need to be precise in what to do there, but you technically send the same kind of excitement, electromagnetic excitement that will produce the desired effect. And this is mainly done in the middle of your brain, in the where are the main glands related with the primitive brain. So then you will, yeah, I was 23, but why they start to do this to me? Let's assume I was a spy, or they thought I was a spy. Let's assume they thought I was a spy, and maybe um, I don't know. They go paranoid. They try to prove they didn't know what they thought. Always I was talking in code. But this is the mental illness that is happening. Yeah? This explains why the world is like this. This explains why this happened to me. Or maybe someone was really sadistic. Maybe there are operations in which people is sacrificed to create this kind of situations for political purpose, and since this happened, they lead to other thing and they lead to other thing, but I never participate in anything that will jeopardize me my future in any of those sort of things. And then I had a lot of dreams, and I think Australia is just losing a lot of things. All the books that I wanted to publish, all the movies, because I prepared myself, all the business I wanted to do, all the science, all the recopilation of the Australian culture, as well in Colombia. There is a lot of things that I would like to do. I think great things can be done, but it feels that many stakeholders are trying to find the minimum satisfying factor, and they are denying themselves for something else. And yeah, it's very yeah, it's very sad. It's very sad because the best days, the best days of my life has been gone, and I do believe, oh, okay, but okay, look what's going on in Gaza, and so that's the choices of other people. But that's precisely why that stuff has to be stopped, because they they know that they can go away with anything at any time, and this technology is extremely, it's a vice. This is like heroin for power. This is heroin. They can't get enough. Let's let's solve something. Let's use this technology. They will not notice it. Let's hinder this person for doing something. Yeah, that day we're gonna give them stomach ache. Yeah, we're gonna give them a headache. We're gonna send them to the hospital. No, no one will notice it. Okay. And then the only way this can be solved is first, this technology has to be out because it's dangerous. And as it get perfected, then you will start having people more confused. You will start to have people maybe people who knows what's going on. They will say, "Oh fuck, it's not worth it to bring children." You have people less animated. You will have. I mean, I'm sure that. Let's say if you are in a military agency, whatever, and you see what they have done to me, you will be, oh shit, what we are doing, and we continue doing. What is this for? Yeah, and then so what comes with the war, you know, this ideology of utilitarianism. So we do this sacrifice so we can do better, something better for everyone. That's relative. You're thinking in the short term, medium term, long term. You're thinking for the future of people you don't even know will come. You're thinking in the short term, then they can kill me, and then they can use all these videos and then put it on the TV and make a show. Oh, this guy was right the whole time, and then they will just make propaganda of what I produce, because that's one of the techniques that especially you will use. Let's say, I don't know, like how I call it, the Jesus Christ technique. Let's say what happened in the Arab Spring. A person immolate itself, and what they did, they magnified the news. It was in every single person algorithm, and then that eventually ignite the feelings of the people. People went out to the streets. People start to get organized, etc. Blah blah blah. And that's one way. That's the easy way. And then what happened? The Arab Spring happening, and are these people better? War started because that. Wars started. A lot of people died. A lot of turmoil. So a lot of countries got destabilized because of that. Now, that's a simple way. I mean, the future. I mean, the people who right now is in power, they are not thinking for the future. Many of them look at the past and they bring the past to the present, but they are not thinking in the future. They don't see a future. We're gonna get there, and we're gonna do decision making so we get there. No, They just see the immediate thing. Many of them, not everyone, but I cannot think of many honest, let's say, leaders. Yeah. Then you will have a situation in which they prefer to change their rhetoric easy. Let's say you have Donald Trump during the campaign saying there are pedophiles in power. We're gonna get those pedophiles, motherfucker. Yeah, everyone knew about the I don't know QAnon thing. That I don't know what is that, but I think it's like kind of pedophile cult of I don't know powerful people. So we're gonna get them all, and you will see. We're gonna ask for the Epstein list the first day I go in office. I'm gonna release the Epstein list. Actually, what he did as of one of the first uh, decrees was like to define what is to be a woman, something related with gender. That's the point. That's the point of. That's the point of the patriarchy to define what is a woman, and technically, that's what he did. He took that from a Slovenian philosopher. Very interesting her. I'm gonna try to read something about her and maybe do another video. But now, check this out. Like technically, Donald Trump was used that promise of the Epstein list to get elected, and now the people get interested about it. Donald Trump is like, eh, you always talking about that. We have talked about that. Everyone talks about that. You don't get tired. This is boring. This is boring. And, Epstein. Eh. And, and I don't know. Maybe this is one of those leaders. Yeah, that wants to just change the rhetoric in the short term, because they are not thinking for the future. Yeah. So this America First thing in which I always win could be related with what's happening to me. Could be. I think Australia is not winning in that sense. 100%. Yeah. I think Australia has lost a lot of things with me being neurotarget, and that's what I say that people might be just being conformed with the minimum factor of conformism instead to have the maximum factor of satisfaction. Yeah, but it's more like that. So if you're someone who thinks in utilitarian terms, then they put you always this example in which there is a train in one railway, then the railway divides in two. In both sides of the railways there is people who is tied to the rails, so if the train passes through any of those divisions of the railways, whether it's the left side or the right hand side, a lot of people gonna get killed. But you will, well, the idea is that you will try to kill the lesser people, yeah. But then there come questions: who is the people there, yeah? We give value maybe if one people is the only doctor in town, and instead we kill 5 peasants, or we are willing to kill only one people and now 5. If an intelligence operator is presented in that way in that decision, you have already changed the panorama, and then they have no other way to choose what's going on but to choose practically what they have thought that is the best solution. So it's a fixed situation. But if you think this is not a real situation, nowhere, anywhere, in any situation, just again to deconstruct that example in real life situation, it will be something like who built that railway, yeah, and why the railway divides in two. What is that? Where is that going? Yeah, the guy who is the machine operator who is driving, did he not see the people lying there? Why he didn't stop? Why the train has to pass through the people and did not stop before? If it is a fucking train, you can see people kilometers far away. Who is the driver? Why the person is driving the train? Yeah? Is the one person who is tired? Why it was tied there? Who is that person? Why it was chosen to be tied there? Yeah? Who are the other five people there? And who is the person who will decide who of them kill? Who put the person there? Who give the power to that person there? The power or the course, yeah, to decide who to kill, who don't kill, yeah. I remember that one day someone asked me, oh well, we were talking about that. Someone say, you know, this is a situation that happens in real life. It happened one day. One day a person had to choose if killed everyone in the train or kill one kid or one person or something like that. This could have been possible, yeah. Good analogy, good experiment, but it doesn't happen every day. Yeah, sometimes it happens, yeah, but it's not every day and not in these situations in which we are talking about someone doing a decision exactly for a railway. Yeah, that might happen once and twice, and there will be always the person doing the railway thing. You're gonna take that analogy and put it in the intelligence context in which you will decide for the whole population, for a whole country, in which you might start a fucking war, in which you will decide the life of a person and many others for the rest of your existence, whatever. Don't bring the example of the train. That's a fucking train. You're talking about other things. Yeah? Yeah, that example of the train can happen. It's a good thought experiment and it's even real. It had happened. But if it's real, let's justify the problem that we have here. Not with the train story, but with real stuff. Yeah? And that's critical thinking, and that's more complex, and that's not manipulation. Yeah? That's more complicated. Okay. 47 minutes, and we are not, look, we are not even halfway there. So, okay, the Statistical Manual of Mental Disorders. Well, if the situation continues like that, look, there is people who is neurotarget. I met, remember this, Sam Vincent. Yeah, that guy was someone who part of the church. He will get on well with the English and the French, as far as I know. And his brother was mentally ill, and he was suffering because his brother will be on the street, and the authorities will always beat him, will put him in humiliating situations. So Sam Vincent create a place in which people could be treated from illnesses that they didn't know what what were produced by. So then this kind of illnesses were at that time supposedly believed because they were animal spirits, but St. Vincent knew that knew his brother. Yeah, I know my brother is not violent. I know my brother is not causing trouble. Maybe he is naked, but he's not trying to disturb anyone. If he can stay in a place in which he cannot bother anyone, then he will be treated humanly. And then he created a hospital, yeah? And then mental people with mental illness, physical illness, all these people was going there, yeah? That's how the mental illness was created, Yeah. Now, if nowadays I met GPs, doctors who have dedicated their lives because, you know, mm, my mother has this situation in which epilepsy taught me things about medicine, and now I want to help people. Or maybe I dedicate my life to be a GP because I wanted to make proud my mom, my father. I dedicate my life to psychiatry because my mom had schizophrenia. I dedicate my life to be this other thing just because I don't know. My father was in the army and he was a doctor, and I thought that is the best way to always collaborate, etc. You will have a lot of people trying to solve these problems, and then people using near weapons in which bias their research is to betray science. This is scientists betraying another scientist, scientists betraying themselves. The point of science is to discover the truth. If you are hindering the truth for your colleagues, then what are you doing? Think about that. Why you became a scientist then? Money wise? I don't believe. I know. I understand that maybe if you're a physician, yeah, you might not come with these kind of questions, but this is the opportunity to question that. Yeah. Or maybe it's the opposite. I never did physics. I should question another things. But the point of science is to find truth. So we are hindering the truth by creating fictional illnesses and then participating in mental studies. Yeah, because these studies are biased. Mm? These studies uh, will create situations in which will justify people who has been neurotargeted. I seen a lot of studies saying that people that is neurotargeted is just nuts, and then they are cementing this kind of system. They are cementing this kind of subhuman category. They are cementing the devaluation of life. They are cementing and creating, fabricating consent for the future for others to say, this is what will happen to you, this is what that happens to you. So then when people see it in their childs, in their children, then they wouldn't be surprised. Yeah. Then if it start if this situation just go everywhere in society, if the extrapolation of this kind of dynamic just go from the bottom up as it's going, because most of the people who is target is poor people, is people without opportunities, these are immigrants, this is lovely people as well, this is people who might just think in a different way, this is people who have maybe is not, let's say, yeah, this is people as well that might be considered undesirable or no, the no ones, the nobodies, the, the ones who might disappear and no one cares. Yeah. Well, the ones who cannot change society. So if you see them in this way, and then you start to create subcategories of humans, then you allow other perpetrations to happen slowly in the system. Yeah. So, and when you justify that with the statistic manual of mental disorders, as it happened to me, like perhaps no, okay, you have ADHD, then you are more likely to have schizophrenia. You see, because I was misdiagnosed when I was a child. My parents never look. This was the situation. I used to study in the British school. The British school will complain because I was hyperactive, and I remember my teachers will pull my ears that my so much that my ears will crack and I will just scream and I will cry. I think they will also cover my mouth, and it was painful. And I saw them doing that to another kids. And then they spoke with my parents, and my parents took me to the psychiatrist, and the psychiatrist say, yeah, ADHD, just take Ritalin. And ADHD right now is over medicated. At that time, it was like giving candies to everyone. I was 4 years old, 4 years or 5 years old. How can you give psychiatrist medication to a kid 4 or 5 years old if you never try to sit him down? Okay, let's try to do an exercise to concentrate. We're gonna do a circle. Try to do the next circle in the same way. You got this. You got this concentrated. Then remember that concentration is not to stay in one place the whole time. Remember that concentration is to bring your attention back quickly. Yeah, because it's normal. It's normal to lose attention. Yeah, that was the. It's normal to lose attention. So you will always try to bring back your attention. It's not about staying in one place forever. Now, some people can do it. I had felt how it feels. Yeah, because I have hyper focus. I cannot do my hyper focus since I start to be attacked, but I have hyper focus. Like technically, I don't stay 1 hour in one task. I can stay 5 hours in one task. Yeah, yeah, and I mean, yeah, could read a book in 2 days, huge book. Could concentrate in a piece of pottery the whole day. I could, I don't know, stay the whole day having sex and not get out of it, not eat during the day because I'm too in it. Cause spend the whole day playing video games. Yeah. No, since I've been neurotarget, yeah, I could stay the whole day watching movie after movie after movie after movie. Yeah. I can spend the whole day, I don't know, sometimes doing more complicated tasks. From driving and enjoying driving, from singing, uh, listening music, yeah, even writing. Yeah. Yeah, but okay, I'm not allowed to do it anymore. But it was a misdiagnosis, and this misdiagnosis has been costly because that has been used to justify fake schizophrenia. Okay, so this means that if this situation continue going in the future, a diagnosis to your child means that he will be more likely to have intromissions of neuroweapons. Early diagnosis of your child. I mean, sometimes it is good to have a diagnosis because you will find the root of a problem. Trust the professionals, but try everything else, yeah, before that, because this is not a system in which you can throw your child and trust the system, yeah. And as it happened to me, my parents took me to one of the best psychiatrists in Colombia, and that came to be costly, yeah, in the future, especially because if these weapons are not out, then someone will take advantage of it. And with that diagnosis, Remember, they're gonna attack the brain and they will be justified by the diagnosis.